How do cinemas actually make money? You may think that you know, but believe me, you don't. You may think that studios place a film in a cinema, paying customers come to see that film, and the cinema gets a percentage of the ticket price. And ta-da, money. Oh, and of course they get money from food and drink sales too, right? Well, kind of, but not really. It's quite a bit more complicated than that. Let's go back. A studio has just made the latest blockbuster, guaranteed to make dump trucks full of money. But to make that money, it's cost them a lot of money. Sometimes hundreds of millions of money. In order to make sure they get that money back, plus profit, they have to release the film into as many cinemas and as many individual screens as possible. And here are where things start to get a bit complicated. You see, if your next film is going to be a blockbuster with every seat guaranteed to sell out, every single cinema is going to want to screen your film. Good news for the studios, right? Yes, very good news. Too good, in fact. If a cinema is part of a chain and that chain has, say, 200 cinemas across the country, studios will allow them to screen the film at favourable terms, say 50%. For every ticket sale, the studio gets half and the cinema gets half. This way, the studio gets lots of screens, show times and locations where its film is being shown and making a hefty chunk of money. But if your cinema chain only has, say, 25 cinemas across the country, the studio may very well ask you for more. Suddenly, what one chain got for 50%, you may have to pay 60% or 70% or even 75%. That's right, for every dollar that cinema earns selling tickets for that film, it could only be keeping 25 cents. The bigger the cinema chain, the more power they have to negotiate percentages with studios. The smaller chain, the less power. So, let's say you've just paid $10 for a cinema ticket. And let's be kind and say that the cinema is keeping $4 of that. $4. That's how they earn their money then, right? Still no. You see, studios make money from cinemas even if not a soul turns up to watch the film. Because studios also charge rental costs. Rental costs are essentially a guaranteed income for the studio. They charge cinemas often thousands of dollars at a time to allow their film to be shown in that cinema chain. The bigger the film, the more they charge. And cinemas, if they want to be able to screen that film, have to pay it. Suddenly that $4 of yours isn't making the cinema a single penny in profits. And that's why cinemas charge so much for concessions. To make a big batch of popcorn that could feed, say, 100 paying people costs around the $15 to $20 mark. If that 100 people are each paying $8 for popcorn, that's a nice earning of $800. Minus the $20 it took to make it, and that's a profit of $780. So that's how cinemas make money. Well, still no. You see, nearly everything you see behind the cinema counter doesn't belong to the cinema. It's rented. The machine that makes the popcorn? Rented. The machine that warms the popcorn? Rented. The machine that makes the hot dogs, the machine that dispenses drinks, the fridges, the tills, the pizza maker. 9 out of 10 times, it is all rented. And those rental costs add up. Suddenly, that $780 they made on popcorn is gone. Why are machines rented? Oftentimes, it's just cheaper. If you own an item, it's your responsibility to fix it if it breaks. If you rent an item, it's the company that owns it who has to fix it when it breaks. And that includes providing the labour and parts needed to get it back to working order. Plus, let's not forget, there are staff costs. Every single employee who works there needs to be paid, and a full rota of 20 people can add up to several thousands of dollars every month. So all those food and drink sales, not as profitable as you think. So, still the question remains, how do cinemas make money? Well, there is still one thing we haven't mentioned. Advertising.
Yes, Post Raisin Bran makes a real breakfast treat. It's a blue ribbon winner that just...
This is where cinemas make the vast majority of their money. Have you ever wondered why adverts play at the time the film is scheduled to start? Because the more people in the auditorium at the scheduled start time means there are more pairs of eyes watching a screen of adverts. And advertisers like this a lot. They like, very much, knowing that a screen of up to 200 people are all staring at the product they are trying to sell. And have you ever noticed that usually when you watch a film, it goes adverts, trailers, and then a final advert before the film comes on? That final advert is often called the gold spot. And it's called that because it is the last thing shown before the film starts. It is the point when the absolute guaranteed most people are going to be watching the screen. People who turn up late to the film may miss most of the adverts, but most likely they will not miss the gold spot. And an advertiser paying for the gold spot just before the latest, biggest, guaranteed moneymaker blockbuster about to be viewed by several thousand people across a cinema chain, they will pay a hell of a lot of money to get their advert shown.
Shut up and take my money!
So you want to know how cinemas make their money? Like most things in life, it comes down to advertising. Like, subscribe, comment, and check out these other videos.